On today's podcast, I talk about leadership as well as kind of bare my soul and have a confessional and apology when it comes to it, but how it applies to you, to your team, and the customer journey and how to see it differently and get the results that you're looking for. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George show. And today we're going to talk about leadership. And I got tickled by a Simon Sinek quote, and I wanted to expand upon it. And one of my favorite books from him is Start With Why. But before we get into this topic, I just want to say I appreciate you. I love you, like more than words can express. And if you're watching this on video, I hope you can feel it. But every message you send me, every question you send me, every takeaway from the podcast, every time I see you share, it's the greatest gift that I could ever receive. I feel like I'm finally getting into my flow of podcasting 500 episodes in. And when I started this show to make it about helping and giving every ounce of myself possible to you. And I can only do that with you and your support. And with that, I would like to ask that you share the show. I don't ever want to run ads on this show. And I get reminded by a lot of you all the time that I never ask specifically for the help. But I truly know that everything in our world, everything in our ecosystem is 100% community focused, and I don't feel worthy or deserving. And God humbles me every day, but I know my heart is pure, and I just want to help you and help anybody who listens and support any way that I can. And so I'm just humbly asking that if you know anybody who could benefit from our show, this episode in particular that I'm about to record for you, any episode, please share it, and please share it specifically and help spread the word, because there's so many incredible people and guests that have been on this show and nuggets of wisdom that can empower people that would not find it if it wasn't for you. And so I just wanted to ask that, which so totally and perfectly leads us into today's podcast. And so this is the quote from Simon Sinek that I love, and full credit to Simon because he's incredible. His brain and heart are incredible, and I am a massive fan. His quote: leadership is not a journey for us to rise up the ranks. Leadership is a journey for us to help those around us rise up the ranks. And this is something I never truly understood. This was something I was taught in the Marine Corps, not through the best lessons, and also knew when I started in entrepreneurship. But I didn't always do it right. And quite frankly, I did it wrong for a long time. I transacted with team members. I hired people expecting them to solve my problems. I would cut them out. If they couldn't solve my problems or do it fast enough, I would have no grace for people. And I would like to say that I've grown, and from the feedback, I've grown. And that just means I have a lot to learn. But true leadership is making a difference in people's lives. And when I read this quote, it is so applicable to every ounce of entrepreneurship, every ounce of business, every ounce of life, every relationship. And I'm going to speak about it in the lens of business, but it is so powerful. And I'm going to read it again. Leadership is not a journey for us to rise up the ranks. Leadership is a journey for us to help those around us rise up the ranks. And we've heard it all before: rising tides rise all ships, and or raising tides raise all ships, or rising tides raise all ships. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. And one of my favorite quotes, and the reason our branding is a lighthouse, and the reason I use that is as a constant environmental reminder for me of what it means. And my favorite lighthouse quote is, lighthouses give light because giving light is their nature. It's not interested in who gets it. And leadership is really about standing for everybody. But this quote doesn't just apply to ourselves. It applies to ourselves first, where we get to understand our mission, understand our role, and understand that every person who comes into our ecosystem, whether it be a team member, a staff, a subcontractor, somebody we meet at a conference, they're there for a reason, and we have the ability to serve them or not serve them. And I believe the way to win in this world is to be a humbled servant to those who show up in our space, not to lock ourselves away and say, you can't talk to me unless you pay for my time. You're going to have to schedule a meeting for that, right? They're not interruptions, they're invitations from God, but they're in that moment. And once we understand our role and we understand that we apply it to ourselves, the next people to apply it to is our team. And your team is anybody and everybody who supports you. in doing what you want to do, whether it's you and your 9 to 5, which I love, as you're building a side hustle, you and your business as an entrepreneur, no matter what phase of the game you're in. Everybody, meaning your family, your friends, your coworkers, your colleagues, the people that you have mutually beneficial relationships for. God, the coffee shop and the people who serve you your coffee every day, your personal trainer at the gym, like every single person who has an influence on you being you is on your team, and they're helping you be the best version of yourself to give the best version of yourself away to the world. Because you apply it to yourself, then you apply it to your team, and then you apply it to the most important place that it matters, which is our customers. Because a customer journey, and this is what this is really about, a customer journey is designing a path for our customers to get to their goal or one step closer while they become the hero of their own journey. Not from us posturing, not from us having all the answers, not from us saying it's our way or the highway. And I'm not here to call anybody out. I'm here to call everybody up to a different game. There's not a one-size-fits-all approach for anything. There's not one person's way that will work for everybody. I believe the job of a leader is to reinvent themselves to whoever it is required to communicate to the person who's in the journey to get the results that they want. And parents, they get this, right? Teachers get this. Martial arts teachers get this. Like, you can think of hundreds of people who get this, but I always think about this in the lens of my kids. If I'm telling my kids to do something or asking them to do something and they're not understanding it, it doesn't support my kids if I just keep grilling it into them and creating trauma. I have to change my delivery. I have to change my communication because I'm in a relationship with my kids. And customer journeys are us being in relationship with people who invest their hard-earned dollars with us to be able to get different results in their life. People that are in pain, people that are struggling, people that are trying to start their business, people that are looking for solutions in their life are getting to a point of feeling safe enough to take out sometimes their last dollar or put it on a credit card and give it to us to help them get closer to their goals. And we see that disrespected, we see that dishonored all the time when it comes to business. But in truth and in my experience, and I've been in this a long time, and I don't want to puff my chest. I get humbled by God every time I do, but I have a lot of experience and I've helped scale a lot of companies. And it wasn't just me, it was me and the team that I was working with. It was all of us. I was just the Oz behind the curtain. But the one thing I can tell you that scale comes from retention, not acquisition, and retention comes from relationships, not transactions. And so when we understand what a customer journey is, it fits into this leadership quote so incredibly well. Very few people are ever going to follow the exact course. Very few people are ever going to get the perfect results that are promised. Very few people are ever going to end up exactly where you did or how you did. And we wouldn't want that because then we'd be full of a world full of robots. But everybody's progress should be protected. Everybody's investment should be respected. And our job is to ensure that we keep our integrity and our values at the forefront of what we do in business. And so if not, and when we don't understand this, that a customer journey is designed to make them the hero of their own journey, and we end up in the transaction world, we end up thinking leadership is about the words that we say and the words that we spit out, we end up conditioning codependency. We end up creating needs that aren't there. We end up deepening people's trauma or wounds. We actually give them more evidence that what they want to achieve can't work. And we became the notch on the bedpost that drived it in to make it worse. And it doesn't move anybody close to their goals. It actually moves them further away and leaves them out to dry. And one of my favorite quotes that my ex-wife, who I love dearly and we're still best friends, said to me is that you can nail a nail into a fence, but when you pull the nail out, the hole is still there. And even if you would fill it and paint over it, the integrity of that board is never the same. And that's how we have to think about business, especially in the world of 2024, where we got lazy for a long time. People got disrespectful with the internet. People got disrespectful with ads and transactions and tricking people into buying things they never used and weren't actually interested in getting people's results. They were interested in preying on people's insecurities. And that's not where you win. That's not where you win the long game. And quite frankly, that's not how you sleep at night. But when you understand this, you understand the responsibility that we have, but with that responsibility also comes a lot of revenue. when you focus on the right things. We are directly rewarded proportionally to the impact that we make in the world. And that's what leadership is all about. But the mistake that people make is that they're convincing people that they're teaching them how to fish, but they're just handing them fish over and over and over, thinking that that's going to keep them around. But all it does is create a deficit, convinces people that they need you, and then they end up resenting you and collecting evidence, and eventually both parties lose. But our job with the customer journey, our job with business, our job as leaders, our job for our team, our job for our customers is to invest in them to allow them to be the best versions of themselves and actually teach them how to fish, to empower them to take the actions, to empower them to use the products, to empower them to get the results, not to live in fear that if they get the result, they're not going to need you. You don't want that fear, and you don't want people to need you. You want people to win and want to be around you, because then they can tell others about you. They can be the shining example. But when was the last time you heard somebody say, oh my God, I invested all this money in a coaching program that never worked, or that they constantly keep telling me to buy more and they keep gaslighting me that I'm doing it wrong and I think you should buy it? Or I bought this product that's been sitting on my shelf and I've never used it, but you should totally go buy it. No, we have to be integrous. We have to value this, and we have to understand what the nature of business really is. And I like to remind people that before the internet, people ran multi-million-dollar businesses, $100 million businesses, $5 million, $1 million, a couple $100,000 a year businesses, and they did it without the internet. And everybody thinks the internet's a different world. The truth is, it just speeds up the process for evidence collection that doesn't lead people to having positive results that they think they're having. And as of 2023, 93% of marketing is word of mouth. And how we treat people and how we lead people is the number one dictator of what they say. The more empowered that people are, the more agency they have. And when I say agency, the more freedom, the more confidence, their ability to win. And the more agency they have and the more confident they feel in their abilities, the better results they get. And with the better results they get, the longer they stick around. And the longer they stick around, the more endowment they have. And the more endowment they have, the more they recommend you, and the better both of your lives are, and both are improved. And the most important thing is that you can sleep at night because you're aligned, and your heart is in it, and you feel good about what you do. And it's the same with our team. It's the same with our customers. I mean, I see people doing this all the time and gaslighting their customers. I can't believe this person complained. How dare them send me an email saying they can't get into it or they're afraid? How about you reframe that for thank you? Thank you for helping me be better. Thank you for having a voice that a lot of people are thinking that they're not willing to have. Thank you for giving the feedback to me that will help me be better. Because just like customer journey and just like leadership, they're all predicated on relationships. And there is no set it and forget it relationship. There isn't one that you put it into practice and it goes on forever. No, it's constant adjustments over and over and over to protect the outcomes of both parties. And of course, we should never be self-sacrificial, and we should never sacrifice ourselves in the process. But we have to understand what it is that we're doing. And in the world of business, people don't buy products, they don't buy services. They're buying the after state. Those products and services are a bridge for them to go from in pain to somewhere close to their goal, or from pleasure to further up that chain of pleasure while getting improved upon in the process. And so this quote carries so much weight for me. It has so much depth built into it. There's so much integrity underneath it, but you really get to sit with it and unpack what's in there. And we've seen it for years. You see the programs that pop off and they win. It's not because somebody's really good at marketing. It's because the people in it are getting results. They have agency. They feel empowered, and they're bringing all their friends in. You see the products that pop. It's not the ones that people are begging for testimonials or begging for reviews. It's the one where people are naturally giving them because it works. And we have to come back to protecting our values and standards. We have to have some level of integrity when it comes to what we stand for, because it's our name and reputation on the line. And that's something that once it's tainted, you can't recover from it. But when you catch it, You can make adjustments and work forever to keep it in integrity and keep improving upon it. And I don't talk about this often, but the reason I teach customer journey the way that I teach it, the reason I preach it the way that I preach it, is because I didn't always do it right. I was taught wrong. I didn't know any better. And I heard a lot of people. I sold a lot of digital products back when I was a food blogger that didn't help people. Yeah, of course, a few people made the recipes, a few people did it. But I was in that transaction trap. I was in that sell another one, make another ebook, make another bundle. Let's affiliate deal this, let's affiliate deal this, and treated people like they were numbers in a checkbook. And as much people like to glorify me and celebrate me for what I built there, the whole reason I gave away that company is because my soul was so out of alignment, not of integrity. And I apologize to everybody for how I treated them when I found the other way. And everybody wants the secrets. Like, George, how'd you scale these companies to $1 billion? Like, how do you help people scale their business? Well, I bring it into alignment and we focus on both parties winning. But we have to keep our values and our integrity and like be disciplined about holding them and stand for something. And so when you focus on the right things and you keep focusing on them regardless of the results, the right results always show up. But the results that most people are looking for, which is more revenue or a bigger impact, come on the back end of building the right relationships for the right reasons, empowering people to get results. And that's what leadership boils down to. And so to wrap this show, I want to leave you with the quote one more time. And I want to leave you with an invitation to stand for something, an invitation to give your all, an invitation to care about people regardless of whether they buy for you or not. And one of the things I say in my keynotes all the time is Nike's billboards don't say just do it, only if you wear our running shoes or only if you buy our clothing. Our job's to help people, not to gate help, not to get in the way. And of course, you don't get to give everything away. But every human being who chooses to give you their attention is an incredible gift. And we get to respect that. We get to honor that. We get to make them feel safe. And we get to help them rise through the ranks in one way or another, but we get to help people. And if you want to read on this one, I would highly recommend you go read The Go-Giver by Bob Berg and David Mann and all the series that go with it. And I even have a podcast with Bob on it. But I'm going to wrap with a quote, and I'm just going to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for accepting all of me and even the old version of me that bled on people, that treated people wrong, that guided people in the wrong direction because I was too afraid to be honest. I was too afraid to say, I don't know. I was too afraid to ask for help. And really, I was too afraid to stand on what I actually believed in and help people do it. And so this is my public apology, as well as an invitation for all of us to do better. The world around us is dark enough already. There's enough happening around that doesn't help people. And our hearts and the way we care about people, the way we love people, and the way we lead people is really the solution for everybody to win. And there's enough for everybody to go around. And so here's the quote one more time. Leadership is not a journey for us to rise up the ranks. Leadership is a journey for us to help those around us rise up the ranks. And that means everybody. And so I love you. I'm here to support you. And if I can help you rise up the ranks in any way, just shoot me a DM on Instagram and I will do everything in my power to help you, answer your question, send you a recommendation, send you a book, introduce you to somebody I know, or do anything in my power or my team's power to help you do the same. So I wish you the most beautiful day. I love you to absolute pieces, and God bless. So you'll either see me in the next episode or you'll hear me in your earballs. But either way, we're out.